Kayla Watkins, wow, what a transformation of the Southeastern softball team, Southeastern University softball team, going 52-13. That's a 23-game difference.
Oh, yeah.
And welcome to the show compared to last year. Welcome to the show, Kayla.
Thanks, guys. Glad to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you on board. The record kind of speaks for itself. When you go, 52-13, and you're made it to the Final Four of the World Series, NAIA Collegiate World Series. I don't know why that's so difficult.
There's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on there.
Absolutely. That's, no margaritas or anything.
Not yet. No, not yet.
It hadn't been for 2 years for me. But anyway, how does that make you feel? That's really a remarkable turnaround.
Yeah, honestly, we had a great time on the field together. I actually saw a couple of our kids yesterday, and we were talking about, you have such a great year, and then you get back and it's summer, and they all scatter. So, but it's been fun to continue throughout the course of the summer to just be able to share with people what happened for us. And certainly winning is fun, but it was a lot of fun with this group of girls. Really, really cool year.
Yeah, absolutely. It felt, we were joking at the All Sports Awards. It kind of felt like it was a Southeastern specific All Sports Awards this year with the amount of athletic achievements throughout the variety of different sports. What do you attribute to kind of you talk about that transformation, really enjoying this season. What do you attribute to getting you to that point where you can look back and really enjoy, and how do you build on that into the future?
Well, I think really there was a cultural expectation from our perspective of what we were trying to accomplish. We talk a lot about what does sustained success look like, and honestly, it takes time to build, in my opinion. This just finished my third season at Southeastern, and so I think a lot of what we see is the culmination of something that began several years ago. And truthfully, 10 years ago, if you look at the start of softball on our university's campus, this was our 10th season. So just seeing the culmination of a lot of efforts come together, I think really was the secret sauce, if you will. We had a group of girls that really bought into what we were trying to do. And then when you think about moving forward and projecting that forward, we'll work to continue to do that. We don't want to be a one-shot wonder. We want to be back in the mix when we get going again. We feel like we've got a good opportunity to do that.
Awesome. Well, tell us a little bit about some of the players that made this possible.
Yeah.
And obviously some of those players gone on, graduated.
Sure.
And so on. You have some up-and-comers, but tell us about some of those superstars.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard if you start talking about our girls because there were so many. And honestly, if you look at the Sun Conference and you look at postseason awards, it was Southeastern. We just had so many girls really perform at a high level. Jamie Mead, who is from Australia, actually, she came in last fall for us. She's a graduate transfer. She's getting her master's, and she, in many offensive categories, she led us, but also tremendous leader on the field. She was the Sun Conference Player of the Year, and on NAI All-American. We had Riley Sanders, who was a freshman. She's from down around Fort Myers, and she led the country in stolen bases. And actually, I think if you look across every athletic category collegiately, she led the country in stolen bases, not just in the NAI. She was named Freshman of the Year for the NAIA, so that was across the board, not just for our conference. We had a great pitching staff. Claire Seckinger and Autumn Hunter kind of held things down there, put up great numbers. They competed at a high level. And then we've got some local products. Haley Harrell is from Wright in Lakeland, went to McKeel, and had a great year for us. Erica Stahl is from Plant City. She went to Lakeland Christian School. So that's really cool, too, to be able to have girls who grew up right here in Polk County and are contributing at a really high level. So really just top to bottom, a lot of great players. And honestly, we have a lot of those girls back. In fact, every one of those girls I just named, they'll be back next year. We graduated 3 really significant players, shortstop, third baseman, and left fielder, who all had great years for us. But again, we're excited about the foundation they've helped us lay.
Yeah, it's awesome. To your point, you've set a really good culture, obviously, and you have some core pieces who are coming back, which is always key ingredient for success. Plus, going as far as you did, you got that playoff experience and postseason experience, which is, I'm sure, instrumental. As you take a look, you touch on some local products that you'll have They've already recruited and maybe some down the pipeline.
Right.
What does it mean in a recruitment sense as you have seasons like this when you go to the market and start talking to, future Fire players?
Well, it's really neat because it is something that we have projected that we believed was going to happen to these girls who made it happen this year. This is what we communicated to them. We believe we can be this. And so now the conversation shifts a little bit. This is who we are, right? And so there's just a little bit more to sink your teeth into. And obviously this team this past year, all of them came to Southeastern knowing it could be. And so now to be able to continue to move forward as we're talking to recruits, they're able to look at what has actually happened. I think it's a little bit easier for them to say yes to that, obviously. So.
Talking a little bit more about the players, Polk County has always been a softball hotbed.
Right, yeah.
It's also been a great recruiting ground for the NFL, or collegiate and then on to the NFL. So there's the athletic talent here is exceptional.
Right.
But softball kind of stands out.
Right.
So is that a primary recruiting target? Do you do that geographically?
Right.
Well, we know that Georgia has, great softball, which they do.
Right.
California is always top, one of the top. As you look at recruiting, looking at the future and building on this year, what does that look like?
I think it's a both and thing. We love to be able to pull in local talent because it contributes so significantly to our fan base. So we do love to do that. But then also Florida is so saturated when it comes to college softball. And so I think if you look at our roster, what you'll find is we've got a pretty good mix of girls just from the Southeast in general, and then a couple from other regions. But I think what we found that our magic is to be able to pull some kids locally, but then go out and grab some kids from other states, from the Southeast especially. I've got a lot of connections just from previous experience, and it's been cool culturally, right? We talked about the culture of our team, and one of the really neat things was that we've got a group of girls they are not the same. They're all very different, but they've enjoyed being together. They've respected each other, and I think probably the way that we recruit has contributed to that.
Yeah, and you talk a little bit about this recruitment opportunities, and you do have, obviously, as you mentioned, a hotbed in this area. You do have
always has been
a lot of just a lot of areas that you can probably touch on within the market and within the state as a whole. And you mentioned earlier about buy-in, right? Like the players bought in.
Right.
Like, what does that message look like? You touched on changing the message. It's not coming, it's now, right? Like we're at this spot. How do you get that buy-in across players from different backgrounds, and what does that look like, and how do you capture that? And do you see it? Like, do you just see when they buy in, or walk us through that?
I think a lot of it is just consistency and approach. I think for young women especially, when they know what to expect, I think it's easier for them to follow, and I think that happened a lot. I'll be honest, another thing I think that happened for us this past season, I just think God orchestrated some things, brought some kids together that really were able to be successful on and off the field. I've told a lot of people I've never seen a group of girls laugh so much together. And a lot of that was very organic. I really do think that God just made some things happen. It's also interesting, this freshman class was the result of recruiting that happened in the summer of 2020. Which sounds really crazy because so much was going on as far as COVID was concerned. A lot of schools could not be out. We were able to be out. Softball's an outdoor sport, and so that was pretty cool to be able to see the fruit of that. But I think the biggest thing for our young women is consistency with expectations, and then for our roster specifically, being in an environment where they feel safe and they enjoy each other and they feel cared about. I think that goes a long way for them.
If you take a look at, we take a step back, 30,000 feet, take a look at the Southeastern athletic program.
Sure.
Drew's done a great job. Mike Santani has, brought a different perspective in terms of, he came from the Orlando Magic and, professional sports franchise coming into Southeastern, get that picture. What do you think it is about Southeastern overall?
Right.
Stepping back, that has made its sports programs. I say, is that grammatically correct?
Yeah, you're
I
fine.
think it
Keep
is.
running
Okay,
with it.
I think I'm
Keep
okay.
running with it.
Anyway, they made the sports program so successful.
I think a lot of it has to do with just having a clear purpose about who we are and what we're trying to accomplish. I think if you would talk to Drew, if you talk to a lot of our head coaches, our goal is to compete with excellence, but also to pursue that in every category of our life. I think, obviously, we're a Christian university, and as coaches, we understand that athletics gives us a platform. And truthfully, the more successful you are, sometimes the further that reach goes. So just understanding our purpose. We want to do things at a high level and do it well. And so not sacrificing that, I think, is important.
Well, absolutely perfect. I think that the expectations look, or should be, very bright for next year, not only in softball, but in the other athletic programs as well, and we really appreciate you joining us.
Yeah,
and
thanks
kind
so
of bringing
much.
us up to speed on sometimes some hidden gems, Ryan.
Sure,
that you know, competing at a national championship level, and right here in our own backyard.
Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better.